Hello, and welcome to your next video. We're going to continue talking about the House of Representatives and its role in the lawmaking process. So let's get to it. So function and rules. You'll notice that the rules in the House of Representatives are based on precedent. Now that term precedent is a vocabulary word, and hopefully you all remember that precedent is a guideline or example that future decisions are based upon. Okay. The function, of course, of the House of Representatives is to make laws. They're part of Congress. They're our legislative branch, so that's what they're supposed to do. You'll also notice that the rules are quite strict compared to those that are in the Senate, just because the House of Representatives has a lot more people, and if you don't have strict guidelines or a strict way to get things done, you're probably going to have a lot of chaos. So moving then to leadership in the House of Representatives. Keep in mind that both houses of Congress are currently controlled by the Republican Party. So the Speaker of the House is Paul Ryan. Because he is, or his party is in the majority, that's why he gets to be Speaker. The Speaker of the House is chosen through a caucus, and that was also a vocabulary term. And a caucus is a closed meeting. So basically, members of the Republican Party get together and they vote on who is going to be the Speaker of the House. Now, this person is actually third in line in the presidential line of succession. So, for example, if something were to happen to the president and the vice president, the Speaker of the House would take over as president. So his main job as Speaker of the House is to preside over the House of Representatives, which means he's in charge of the House of Representatives. Okay. Moving on then to the House Majority Leader. That person is Kevin McCarthy. And Kevin McCarthy, again, he's a Republican. The Republicans have the majority in the House of Representatives. And his job is to be like the assistant to the Speaker. His job is to help lead his party and try to get his party's agenda or ideas through the House. Next, we have the House Minority Leader, and that is Nancy Pelosi. She's a Democrat. She's the minority leader because the Democrats have the minority in the House of Representatives. Prior to the Republicans taking control of the House again a few years ago, Nancy Pelosi was actually the Speaker of the House. So her job is pretty much the same as the majority leader, except for with her party. So she's responsible for trying to organize her party's agenda and trying to make sure that their ideas are pushed through. Next, we have the House Minority Whip. And the name whip is just so fun. The minority and majority whips are responsible for trying to encourage participation from their party members, trying to make sure that they're always there if there's an important vote for their party or if there's something important that needs to be discussed. They want to make sure that all of their party members are there. So the name whip, are you ready for this? They are supposed to whip up votes. Too funny. Anyway. So the majority whip is Steve Scalise, and he has the same responsibility as Steny Hoyer does, only for the Republican Party. So their job is to go around and make sure that their people, their party members, are present, especially when there's an important vote. All right, moving on then to committees. And there are lots and lots and lots of committees in the House of Representatives and in the Senate, and we'll look at those in more detail with our next unit. But the most important committee in the House of Representatives is the Rules Committee. And the Rules Committee serves as what we like to call the traffic officer in the House. It basically directs the flow of bills, okay? And the Rules Committee is also chaired or led by members of the majority party. So take a second. Who's in charge of the Rules Committee? The Republican Party, okay? So scooting ahead then to the lawmaking process in the House of Representatives. I'm just going to get all this up here for you, and then we're going to talk about it. Maybe. There we go. All right, so the first step is to introduce the bill. And the bills are placed into what we call the hopper, this thing right here, by a representative, okay? Then the bills are distributed to committees for action. So this is where the bills spend a lot of time. Okay, so if your bill is on education, for example, then the bill would probably be sent to the House Committee on Education, right? Obviously, because who serves on the House Committee of Education? Any guesses? People who know a lot about education. So probably former teachers, former administrators, that kind of thing. Okay, So once the bill makes it out of committee, if it makes it out of committee, they are put on one of 5 different calendars, okay? And the first calendar is the union calendar, and this includes all House bills that deal with money, which is probably going to be a lot of the bills. Then next is the House calendar, and this includes other public bills. So any bill that deals with the general public that doesn't deal with money, which probably isn't very many, would go on that calendar. Next, we have the private calendar, which would be bills that deal with specific individual people or places. So if there was a bill for that would regard something very specific to the citizens of Park Hills, Missouri, then that would go on the private calendar. The consent calendar, this includes bills that receive unanimous consent, or meaning that everybody on the committee says, wow, this is a spectacular bill, it must be pushed through. And then we have the discharge calendar, which are bills that would survive a committee without the consent or the approval of the chairperson. So that's pretty hard to do. And then after the bills survive the committee process, then they go to the House floor for discussion. So then the House of Representatives discusses the bill, and then they vote on it. And then if the bill passes through the House of Representatives, then that bill is sent to the Senate, and the Senate goes through that same process. Okay, and we'll come back and talk about the Senate's role in our next video. So again, there's the hopper. It's just a big box. Pretty nice, right? All right, so if you guys have any questions, please let me know.